Hello everyone and welcome back to Hitting the Field. We've got a great show for you today after missing you for 2 whole weeks. First, I'll have Gadiel, Cartagena, and Grant Wheeler on with me to talk about the madness in March. Then John Alfano will join Gadiel and me to update you on 2 weeks worth of craziness from the NFL. And finally, I'll give some of my thoughts on the current state of America's favorite pastime. I'm your host, Hannah Jo Groves. Today is Monday, March 21st, 2022, and Hitting the Field starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always locked in, I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back. Now, I know this is kind of a quirky, kind of niche thing for us to be talking about right now, but believe it or not, there is an NCAA tournament happening right now. We wanted to just, give you our thoughts on how it's going so far. So I'm here now with Grant Wheeler and Gadiel Cartagena, who is famous, by the way. Grant, how are you doing? How's your bracket looking? Tell us everything.
I'm feeling fantastic. My bracket started off well in the early rounds on Thursday and Friday, but on Saturday, unfortunately, Baylor, who I had going to the Final Four, faltered to North Carolina, but still not completely broken yet, the bracket.
Okay. Well, yeah, and you're going to talk to us a little bit later about North Carolina and how they've been doing. But Gadiel, how are you doing? How's your bracket? Tell us.
I'm fantastic. I don't care about my bracket at all. I'm literally just here for chaos. I had a bracket where I had Georgia State making it all the way to the Final Four because why not? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to get a perfect bracket anyways. I'm loving the chaos. This is an chaotic tournament. It's really fun to watch, and I'm enjoying every single second.
Well, that's why it's called March Madness at the end of the day, isn't it?
This is true.
Well, let's talk about this first game we've got here, Gonzaga versus Memphis. Grant, Drew Timme, 25 points and 21 of them were in the second half. And yet, still, Memphis kept it within reach. How did you feel about this Memphis team?
Well, Memphis came out firing defensively and offensively in the first half, and Drew Timme was struggling. He didn't really pick it up until the second half, and he just went on this scoring run, like this unbelievable scoring run where they just could not stop him. He was like a tank that you just could not stop inside. And that's why it was a high-scoring game, because I think both defenses, as the game went on, just started to tire out.
Yeah, well, Gadiel, do you feel like their, dependence on Drew Timme, is it too much? Do you feel like they're using him the right amount? Do you feel like if he got injured tomorrow, they'd be out completely?
Oh, I mean, sure. If you're going to lose your best player, odds are you're going to struggle a lot. I think they're fine with the way that they depend on him. They didn't need him in the first half, like Grant alluded to. In the second half, it made a huge, huge difference. Like, you need Drew Timme to be active. He can't finish with 4 points in each half. So he got that good, big second half, and if he gets that, they're going to be golden. They're a really, really good basketball team.
They are, yeah. They seem like they're really cohesive. They know where each other are. They have a good attitude and positive, and I think that's what ultimately made them come out on top. But how did Memphis, how did they stay kind of within reach?
Their talent, their athleticism. Penny Hardaway is not the greatest coach, but they were in that game because, again, they have a lot of talent on that Memphis team. And they got healthy at the right time. I mean, they were missing Imani Bates for most of the season. And he comes back in the NCAA tournament. They take care of business against Boise State. And I did say that Gonzaga would beat Memphis, but I did mention that it wouldn't surprise me if Memphis were to pull it off, and they almost did.
Okay, well, now they have to go up against Arkansas. Has a really high-energy coach. In my eyes, it seems like Arkansas really needs to be able to get to the free throw line. They need to play strong defense in order to have any kind of chance against this Gonzaga team. What do you think, Gadiel?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be tough because Gonzaga, they're so dominant on the inside, but it's not like their guards are any slouches either. I mean, Andrew Nembhard, he's one of the most poised guards that you'll see in college basketball. Whenever they needed a big shot, he came through for Gonzaga, and I think he's going to continue to do that. They kind of have that recipe of a Final Four team. It's why you saw them there last year. They have all the same parts. They lost Jalen Suggs. They added in Chet Holmgren. Gives them a different dynamic. They're more of a shot-blocking team, more of an inside presence as opposed to beating you with athleticism on the perimeter. Gonzaga's a really good team. I think they beat Arkansas. I know J.D. Note is a really, really good player, but I think the team effort that is Gonzaga is going to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with Gadiel here. They're going to beat Arkansas, but I think they'll meet their match against Duke. I think Duke comes out of that region.
Interesting.
Duke.
Yes.
The team that's going to lose to Texas
Well,
Tech.
let's go on to the team that beat Duke, UNC. They also beat Baylor, which is
Correct.
a really big surprise. Well, in my eyes, I don't know, was it a surprise to you?
It was and it wasn't.
No, it's not.
I'll say this about Baylor: they were down two of their top 3 guys, including L.J. Cryer, and the fact they still forced it into overtime. I mean, UNC had a 25-point lead the second half with 10 minutes to go, 67-42. And
It would have been a big comeback.
It would have been one of the worst collapses in NCAA tournament history,
Yeah.
if not the worst. So Carolina's lucky they're not on that side of history.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, R.J. Davis had 30 points. He was amazing 3-point shooting. There was one turnover where instead of going up to the paint, he just took it from the outside, and it was beautiful. So that was a huge, huge contribution from him. Again, how does he give them an edge? Is he their number one guy? What do you think about that?
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think this is one of those performances where he played really good. Listen, they don't have the best guard play, but R.J. Davis, he showed up against Baylor. They need their bigs to show up against UCLA because I think UCLA will. You win with elite guards in March Madness in the tournament, and Tiger Campbell, Johnny Juzang, UCLA, experienced. They play together. There's some dogs. I think it's going to be tough for UNC, but I'm glad they got this win against Baylor. I did have them winning this game.
Okay.
Not to toot my own horn or anything.
Okay.
I thought if Brady Manick didn't get ejected for that flagrant elbow, they probably would have been able to close the game out a little bit easier. That floor spacing big makes a huge difference for their offense. They need that. But it's going to be tough for them moving forward, in my opinion.
Do you think that UNC has a really good chance against UCLA?
I think they have a lot of momentum built in them right now. I think they do beat UCLA, but I don't think they'd come out of the region. I think they lose in the regional final to Purdue, but I do have them beating UCLA, yeah.
Okay. All right. Next game that we have here, St. Peter's versus Murray State. St. Peter's comes away with this win. It feels like they know how to be really aggressive on defense. They made it super difficult for Murray State. So they refused to give up any rebounds, like at all. Murray State just could not get in there. Is this defense going to carry them, Grant?
Well, something to note, St. Peter's is 20th in the country in defensive efficiency. I don't think a lot of people knew that entering the tournament. I mean, they beat a great Kentucky team. A Murray State team had won 21 straight games going into that second round matchup. I think they'll finally meet their match against Purdue. It won't be an easy game though for Purdue. Don't get me wrong. St. Peter's going to play them tough, but I think St. Peter's, unfortunately for them, I think they're going to finally lose.
And Gadiel is ye of little faith against St. Peter's right now.
Their defense is great.
You don't think they make it out against Purdue?
Listen, I have Purdue winning the whole thing, so it's not a...
The whole thing?
The whole thing. I think they're a phenomenal team. We can get into the ins and outs of why I think that. But I think what St. Peter's has is one of the best coaches in college basketball. Like, I want to give more credit to Shaheen Holloway. He's been unbelievable. And if you watch his team, offense, they run unbelievable sets. High pick and roll, 5 out, inside, out, pin downs, whatever you want, they will do, and they will do it surgically. Whatever you're giving them, they will take. It's like watching the college basketball equivalent to the Tom Brady Patriots. Like, it is surgical, and you're getting that from a little school from Jersey City. It's unbelievable. He's going to get a big job after this. I don't know where. I could see him being an assistant for the Knicks. I could see him being the head coach at Seton Hall. Shaheen Holloway is an unbelievable job. He's the star of their team. They don't really have a star, right? Like, they have some good players.
Of really good players.
A lot of really good players, but they don't have that star. I honestly think Shaheen Holloway, the head coach, is the star.
He's the star.
And if they pull it off against Purdue, great. I don't see it happening. But I'm really, really rooting for this team. I love watching them
With the
play.
way they've been playing, it wouldn't surprise me if they do beat Purdue, but I'm going to go with my gut and go with the Boilermakers. I just think they're overwhelmed St. Peter's inside.
Okay. Well, March Madness, this is really what it's all about. The people coming up from behind and surprising everybody, and that's exactly what St. Peter's has done. If this is the end of the road for them, maybe it's understandable. But we've really loved watching them. So let's go to standout teams. St. Peter's is not Gadiel's standout team. Gadiel, tell us who and why.
We'll go back. I'll give you two. I'll give you UNC, who obviously they've done fantastic. This is where I expect them to make it. I expect them to lose to UCLA, but they've done a great job. Listen, your guards showing up in March Madness is huge. They've struggled like that. They've been inconsistent all year because it's been Brady Manick, it's been Armando Bacot, and then R.J. Davis, Caleb Love, Leaky Black. They've all struggled to be consistent. They've shown up. Hubert Davis done a great job coaching in wake of Roy Williams leaving.
First year, yeah.
It's a really big development for them. UNC is going to get back to being that blue blood, which is really scary because a lot of people were preying on their downfall. They're not going anywhere. They're only getting started right now.
What are Duke fans thinking right now?
They're happy. They're in the Sweet 16. I don't think they're concerned with UNC. They're where they want to be. They look really, really good. I don't think Duke wins this round. I think it goes to Texas Tech.
Interesting.
But Duke's playing well, so I don't think they're concerned with UNC. But it would be really cool if they made it far enough to play against each other because Who doesn't
A
love
rematch.
Who doesn't love that match?
I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Coach K hopefully come out on top with that. Anyway, okay, so Grant, who is your standout team? Tell us.
The Houston Cougars, they
Houston
are
Cougars.
suffocating defensively. If you watched the Illinois game yesterday in the first half, I mean, they were holding Illinois to like 11 points there for a while. Kelvin Sampson really has those guys locked in and focused. And offensively, they're good too. Against UAB, they were shooting lights out from three. They're a tricky team to prepare for because you know what you're going to get out of them defensively, but you don't know what you're going to get out of them offensively. So offensively, they start shooting the lights out against Arizona in the Sweet 16, which, by the way, I have Houston winning that game. I think they go to the regional final against Villanova.
Ooh. Okay.
I want to give credit to one more team really quick.
Go ahead.
I forgot to give credit.
It's okay.
The University of Miami Hurricanes, the team that I grew up rooting for, upset the Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler-led Auburn Tigers last night. They looked dominant. They won by, I think it was 18 points, 79-61 or whatever it may be.
79-61, yep.
UM looks really good. Elite guard play gets you far, and their guards are all peaking at the right time. Fun to watch, aggressive. They get out in transition. They pressure you. They make it really tough. And now they're actually favored. They have the higher seed against the 11-seeded Iowa State Cyclones. So UM might be making an Elite Eight, maybe even Final Four run. Who knows?
Another team I want to mention, the Providence Friars. I didn't have them coming out of the round of 32. They've been playing great defensively. They destroyed Richmond, and Richmond was a hot 12 seed coming in. Kansas will have their hands full against Providence. I really do in the Sweet 16. And Kansas barely got by Creighton in the round of 32, so that's a game to keep an eye on.
Definitely. Well, my standout team is a team called Iowa State. They have been a big surprise. They've been playing some of the best basketball that we've seen. And Isaiah Brockington, this Penn State transfer, is #1 scoring, #1 in rebounds, averages 17.1 points per game and 6.8 rebounds per game. I mean, he has been the star that Gadiel is talking about. Every team kind of needs one. Sometimes it's your coach, apparently. But this is Isaiah Brockington. He is the star for this Iowa State team. Gadiel, how has he contributed to this team's success? Do you think it is all on his shoulders? How much is due to other players?
I think it's been more of a team effort. They've done a really good job of limiting star players for other teams. So against LSU, you have a couple players on the team that are NBA bound. Shut them down. I mean, pretty much got the job done. You're going against Johnny Davis in Wisconsin. Once again, shut them down. So Brockington, he's playing great, but I really think it's just the fact that they're playing cohesive team defense. And listen, the sum of the parts is going to be the greatest thing in March Madness.
Okay.
And that's what Iowa State is right now. Another team-oriented team, which is what you want to see. And I'm really excited to see who wins this matchup between them and UM.
You know what this year's Iowa State team reminds me of? Reminds me of Oregon State from last year's tournament. No one really saw them making a run. They were a 12 seed, and they got all the way to the Elite Eight. And we're guaranteed a double-digit seed in the Elite Eight this year thanks to Miami and Iowa State as an 11 versus 10 matchup in the Sweet 16.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have to talk March Madness. Don't worry, though. You will definitely hear more from us as it goes on throughout the month. Thank you so much for joining us, Grant. When we come back, Gadiel and I will be joined by John Alfano to give you our thoughts on a few weeks' worth of NFL news. Stay with us.
It's coming back! We're gonna need to
Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. One of you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No.
No.
It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
I agree.
Now the Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing the I'm gonna let you finish, but no one would know what it was with.
Nitro's dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is nitro thick? I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
he jumped off the wall to catch the home run. We made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
And we're back. It was a little over a month ago that I sat in this exact spot with these exact two people talking about a certain quarterback announcing his retirement. And now here we are, probably looking a little dumb along with the rest of the sports broadcasting world, but probably happy that he's not done after all. So that'll serve as my first question to you, John. How are you doing? What was your reaction when you heard that your quarterback wasn't done after all?
Really surprised, really happy because as a Bucs fan, we don't get many times of relevance. So anytime that I can have with Brady, I'll cherish it.
Okay, and just to remind all my viewers here, we have John, who's a Bucs fan who got Tom Brady 2 years ago, and then Gadiel, who's a lifelong Patriots fan who had Tom Brady for his whole life and is recently without him. Gadiel, what was your reaction to him announcing that he will be back?
Listen, I said a few months ago that I was happy he was going on his own terms. I'm happy he's coming back on his own terms.
There we go. There we go.
He sees that there's an opportunity to make it to the Super Bowl again.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that the Bucs are still a really good team. Their GM, Jason Licht, has done a fantastic job keeping this team together. And John, your boys have a chance to make it again.
Yeah,
they look really good right now.
Yeah, I really like some of the pickups they had. I like Russell Gage. He's going to be a really good wide receiver 3. I think he wants another chance to go out on top.
Yeah.
Well, early in his career, Tom Brady said that his biggest fear was the end of his playing career. I just feel like, he spent so much of his life preparing for the season when he's not in season, and then being in that worldwide center stage, and then without it, the memes of, we talked about it on Girls on Deck, but the memes of him taking out the trash one time, playing with his kids for a few weeks, he's like, that's not for me. But I do think, there's not a reason for him to be done. He was still playing like Tom Brady. There wasn't a moment where we're like, oh, his age is showing here. Oh, he's not playing like he usually does.
He should have won MVP.
He should have won MVP.
I will stand on that hill until I die.
Aaron Rodgers is... No, but we'll talk about that later.
He's good.
But I totally agree. He has way more in him, and I think, again, he definitely has a chance to win another one, and he needs to go out on the Super Bowl win.
He does.
On his own terms, yes. Yeah. But I really do think that's the way for a GOAT like Tom Brady to ultimately retire.
It's the only way
that's how
he
it
can.
is. It's the only way. It's the only way.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about the guy that did win MVP, Aaron Rodgers. He's staying in Green Bay, but now he's without his soulmate, his baby, Davante Adams, who is now going to Las Vegas. Gadiel, Aaron Rodgers claims he knew about this before he agreed to stay in Green Bay. Mm-hmm. What do you think he thinks about this now?
I think he knew about it. I don't think he's lying about that. It's just funny. Like, what is the point of staying if you're going to be without the player that you have used as your crutch over the last few years? Now, I understand they can still make moves. They can trade for wide receivers. They can do certain things. But it's ugly in Green Bay right now. Like, they're still going to be a good team. They're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But without Davante Adams, are you a championship contender? Because Aaron Rodgers is, correct me if I'm wrong, 38 years old?
37, 38, or
I
around
think
there.
so, yeah.
He's getting to the end of his career. You need to make a push to get him another ring.
We say this as we just talked
Talk
about
Tom Brady.
44-year-old
It's fine.
Well, not everyone is Tom Brady.
That's
so
true. Very true.
He is the outlier. He is the exception.
Very true.
It's interesting in Green Bay right now. I don't know what their plan is to get back to being a Super Bowl contender, because they lost in round 2.
Yes.
And then they
had the
traded
bye, so
away
they
their second best offensive player.
Their offense, the whole offense is built around this guy. So what is this offense going to do?
It's going to be really interesting, because if you look at the wide receivers that the Packers have under contract, they have no one. They have Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and that's pretty much it. They re-signed Robert Tonyan the other day, which is good, but you're seriously lacking on wide receivers. You cut one of your best pass rushers, Darius Smith. I think the Packers just went a straight downgrade, and I don't really. They're still a very good team, like Gadiel said.
Yeah.
But I don't see them as true Super Bowl contenders as they are currently built.
I hate to say this, you guys know I hate to say this, but as long as you have Aaron Rodgers, you cannot be counted out.
Yeah.
That's really the story.
It hurt me to hear that too. So yeah.
Well, okay. So what does Davante Adams bring to Derek Carr and company on the Raiders?
This is one of my favorite moves of the entire NFL offseason.
Okay.
I didn't see it coming. I woke up from a nap, I see Davante Adams as a Raider, and I was like, oh my gosh, what does it all mean, right?
Did you think you were dreaming a little bit?
Well, no, if he was on the Patriots, I would be dreaming. But,
Okay.
we don't make moves. We signed Ty Montgomery. That's conversation for another day.
Got it.
Davante Adams, what he brings is he makes life so much easier on everybody else. So he is a true number 1 receiver. The defense will bend to him. So you have Darren Waller, who's one of the best head ends in the NFL. His life's going to be really easy now. No more double coverage. That's the thing to pass. Hunter Renfrow, pretty much like a southeastern version of Julian Edelman.
Star.
Now, he is going to be cooking underneath, and he's an unbelievable receiver himself. You have Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake running through less stack boxes. Derek Carr's life is going to be easier. Josh McDaniels has some toys to play with as an OC. I think the Raiders are being slept on right now. I understand the division is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. Derek Carr is easily the worst quarterback in that division. But they're a really good team. And I think they still have a really good shot of making the playoffs and making some noise once they get there.
How will the Carr-Adams connection compare to the Rodgers-Adams connection?
Well, I mean, Derek Carr obviously isn't the caliber of quarterback as Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Like, few are, as much as I don't like Aaron Rodgers. But those two, they do actually have a little bit of history because they were teammates at Fresno State. They already have a little bit of chemistry built up. So, like I said, or like Gadiel said, rather, I think that the Raiders are a dark horse team. If it weren't for the division they play in, they'd easily be seen as a playoff contender right now.
Okay, well, and now I want to talk about the most exciting part for me, which was that, it just makes me so happy every time I say it. Russell Wilson is now Denver's quarterback, and I predicted it. I predicted it on Girls on Deck, I predicted it on Bets, and now it's actually happening. I kind of did think I was dreaming, Gadiel. I am overjoyed, but Gadiel, I do want to ask you, what is Russell Wilson going to give us that Teddy Bridgewater couldn't?
Everything. Like the difference is night and day when you get a franchise quarterback compared to a stopgap quarterback, a bridge quarterback, Bridgewater.
There we
No
go.
pun intended. It's night and day. Like it really is completely different. Russell Wilson can command the offense. You can build your offense around Russell Wilson. You have not been able to do that in Denver since the man with the big forehead left.
Yep.
So it makes a huge difference. Russell Wilson, you could say he's going to be the best quarterback on any given day. He can outplay Patrick Mahomes on a certain Sunday. He can outplay Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, whoever it may be. Russell Wilson can do that. You will not get that from a Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater type. So
Good luck in Seattle.
it's the Broncos. There's a lot to look forward to for you
Oh,
guys
I'm
right now.
so excited.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you think about the future of my Broncos team?
Yeah, well, for years, it's been always the Broncos had so much talent, especially on defense, but they just couldn't have the quarterback to take them over the top since the big forehead man, as you called him,
Yep.
retired. And they did what they should have done a long time ago, and they went out and got a proven star in the league. They stopped trying to rely on John Elway's drafting the tall white QBs. They actually have a star.
real pandemic.
And they've got decent weapons. They've got Cortland Sutton. They've got Tim Patrick. I think the Broncos, like every other team in that division, are a serious threat to make the playoffs. AFC is insane.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
That's really funny, Gadiel.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All
I'll
right,
start on that.
so another quarterback, Mitch Trubisky.
Ugh.
What did you say he was the Nickelodeon?
The MVP.
MVP.
What
the
year?
first of all time.
Bears versus Saints.
Yeah.
Wow.
They lost, right? Yeah. And he won the MVP.
Yep.
Well, that's great. Well, now he has the opportunity to kind of show what he's got in Pittsburgh, which apparently goes against everything that his family has ever been a fan of. He was talking on some podcast about that. John, what did he win, or what did he learn from Josh Allen in Buffalo that he will take to Pittsburgh?
Well, he said it himself in an interview. He said he learned about good team culture. He basically threw the Bears under the bus. Like, and I mean, understandably so.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
that was not a good situation, and he wasn't great, but he got an unfair share of the criticism. So I think taking that year off and kind of learning behind Josh Allen, who's fantastic QB, probably top 5, I think that'll do him some good, and maybe he can get the Steelers to the playoffs. Who knows? I think, honestly, he's better than, like, washed-up Ben last year.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Honestly, yeah.
For
No,
sure.
that is no question. Trubisky, for as many flaws as he may have, he's very inconsistent. He doesn't have the greatest arm. I could go on and on, but he can move.
Yes.
And that is their biggest problem. With a bad O-line, you can't have a quarterback that can't move.
Yes.
And Ben
Needs to be
Roethlisberger
mobile.
has not been able to move for the last 15 years of his career, which is about as long as his career was. So he was just an immobile quarterback for the majority of his time in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky can move. You can run some RPOs, open up the offense a little bit, help the offensive line. There's something to work with there. I hope they draft a quarterback. Don't rely on Mitch, but he's a good bridge quarterback.
All right. So now we're going to talk about something that I honestly could spend the whole show talking about, so we're going to try to keep it short. Deshaun Watson is now with Cleveland. Where does this see, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so, John,
Yeah.
he might be suspended.
Might.
Should he be playing football?
No.
Okay.
He shouldn't.
Gadiel, what do you think about that?
Definitely suspend him.
Okay, great. So we're all on the same page
no
here. That's all I
question.
wanted
The
to know.
Browns even have a fail-safe in the contract. His salary is only $1 million this year. It's almost like they're expecting him
No,
to get
for
suspended,
sure.
which was really scummy when you think about it.
Well, and yeah, I mean, it makes the whole situation look just overall sketchy, and it already is. Baker Mayfield, understandably, is like, absolutely am I not going to play for the Cleveland Browns. So where does Baker Mayfield go from here?
Indianapolis.
I'm down
home,
with that. I think that.
Progressive commercials?
Yes.
I don't know. He can figure it out. He'll be fine. He's got the personality. He can do all that stuff. He's not the greatest quarterback, but I think the pendulum has swung a little too far. He's still a productive NFL quarterback. He's had 2 good seasons, 2 bad seasons. I'd take a chance if I was the Colts. I'd send like a 2nd round or a 3rd round pick and see.
Would you rather him or over Jimmy G?
No, I'd rather have
That's what
Jimmy
I'm
G.
thinking.
I'd rather have Jimmy G, but I wouldn't be surprised.
But Baker's
because
not
Jimmy
going-
G's coming off of a shoulder surgery
Right.
on his throwing shoulder, I believe.
Right.
Baker's recovering from a shoulder injury, but I think
It's on.
It's on
there's-
his opposite, yeah.
Yeah, there's some mystery with Jimmy G right now, but I would like to see Jimmy G with the Colts. The Colts have a really good team. If they get a quarterback that figures it out, either one of them would be the best quarterback they've had, in my opinion, since Andrew Luck left. Yeah. So an upgrade is an upgrade. Take it how you can.
That's fair. Do we think that they'll just do a little trade? Will we see Baker in Houston?
In Houston? No. The
No.
trade's already finalized. The Texans have said they wanted to build around Davis Mills.
Okay.
So I think Baker's going to be going elsewhere. And like Gadiel said, he's not the greatest quarterback, but the one thing no one can argue is that he gave his heart and soul on the field every single week. He brought the Browns like their first great moment since they returned to the league in that playoff win over Pittsburgh last year. So any team that gets him, you're going to get a guy who gives it all every single Sunday.
Totally. Well, our last piece of news here, Von Miller to the Bills. Is this the last piece of the Bills needing or like actually making it to a Super Bowl? Gadiel, tell me.
I'm going to say no. I think what they still are lacking, which they could address in the draft, is a running game. Now, part of that is on the running back. They don't have great running backs. Part of that is on the coaching, and part of that is on the offensive line. I think all 3 of them need work in terms of the running game. They asked Josh Allen to do a little bit too much. Lighten the load a little bit.
Yeah.
Make sure you can play while you're ahead, and I think they'll be okay. The time of possession battle is really what they need to work on, because they can get the big plays. But the question is, can you maintain the ball and make life easier on your defense, which they haven't been able to do thus far. But I think Von Miller most definitely helps.
Okay, well, so why were the Rams willing to give Von Miller up?
I think it was just cap space, honestly.
Okay.
Like, you saw them struggling with the cap. They had to trade Robert Woods to the Titans. And I think it's to Buffalo's gain. Now, that contract is kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. Von Miller, the new nickname,
Yeah.
is
for
definitely
him.
earned. But I think in the short term, at least, Von Miller will definitely help because the Bills have been lacking an elite pass rusher for the last few years.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I wish him all the best. He used to be a Bronco. That's all the time we have for now to talk about the NFL. I can only imagine what new stuff will come out over these next couple of weeks, but we'll be there with you through all of it to tell you what we think. Gadiel and John, thank you so much for joining me. When we come back, I'll rant to you about something I've really never talked to you about before, baseball. We'll be right back.
I'm going with Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
God.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL
my
is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
And we're back. Now comes the rant part of our show, and today it concerns America's pastime. The only thing more American than apple pie and Chevrolet, baseball. And I know what some of you might be thinking. What could there possibly be to rant about with our national pastime? So, baseball. Specifically, Major League Baseball is such a tangled mess. It's hard to even form a cohesive opinion about it. The recent lockout situation that started on December 2nd and then ended just a few days ago is really just the tip of the iceberg. Why was there a lockout? Were the owners too stingy? Were the players too greedy? Why didn't anybody, glance at a calendar and notice spring training was coming up? I mean, come on. It's like a middle school girl faking tears in the cafeteria to get some attention. We've seen this before. The term inside baseball means too many dull details. And you know where that term came from? Baseball. The MLB has to stop getting into these pointless slap fights. They might argue that any press is good press, but with slipping attendance and TV ratings, MLB needs good press. Inspiring stories of achievements, comebacks, teamwork, and heartwarming fan engagement. Attendance is still 45 million, but that's down from 68 million a few years ago. Endless talk about sky-high player salaries and billionaire owners does not draw fans in. This may come as news to the suits at MLB, but baseball is entertainment. It's a live show with guys wearing old-fashioned clothes on a nice lawn, swinging a stick at a ball. All the rules work to make it competitive and entertaining. Now that we all have a miniature TV in our pocket with almost unlimited entertainment options, MLB needs to deliver unique, amazing entertainment to stay relevant. The fans want to see the players they've gotten to know they want to see them do well for the pride of their favorite team. Hits, home runs, and quick fielding are what the fans want. The entertaining part. If they want to make some changes to speed the game up or make it more entertaining, then let's talk. But the 1900s-style labor negotiations need to be thrown far, far outfield, like way out of there. That's our show for this week. Thanks to all my guests for joining me. We'll be back next week to talk more March Madness, whatever crazy new development comes out of the NFL, and more. Thanks so much for watching, and from Alex Funderburk, myself, and all of us here at HTFN, have a great week. Peace.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I